An Afrikaans and Jewish Alliance. My name is Paul Kaplan, and this talk is to discuss the lunatic scheme by the South African government to expropriate property without compensation. Now, AfriForum is the most prominent organisation representing South Africans who are horrified by the government's intention to confiscate property without compensation. And AfriForum has recently begun to cooperate with COPE, C-O-P-E. That's the Congress of the People. They're cooperating with COPE to fight this lunacy. Now, COPE has the sort of intelligent and sophisticated approach that could actually build a successful cooperation between black South Africans and the rest of us. Most of us conservatives and capitalists have always hoped for such a setup, but we've never actually managed to achieve it. And we simply cannot see eye to eye with the socialist ANC and its friends. Now, although COPE is still too small to have much influence on South Africa's politics, this can change if we handle things properly. Mr. Malema's ideas appeal to the deepest emotions of millions of desperately poor people who don't have the faintest idea how the economy works, or how disastrous it would be to simply grab assets without compensation. And the ANC is being dragged into this expropriation lunacy, not because they want to do it, but because Malema and his company has the weapon of calling them sellouts or slaves to white monopoly capital, or some other rabble-rousing slogans. So the ANC has no choice but to go along with Malema's demands if they want to stay in power, or even if they want to just stay alive. And Malema is also blaming the ANC for all the terrible corruption that has stolen billions from the people. And he's also saying that most of the ANC has been in power for so long that they are now too old to make any changes or improvements. So, as we can see, the ANC is now powerless to prevent the ambitious Mr. Malema from grabbing power and the presidency from the ANC, and which he will do, whatever it takes. And it's also clear that Mr. Malema thinks that we whites and Asians are completely helpless and he can do what he likes to us. He completely disregards us as an obstacle to his political aims, and so far the only significant resistance is coming from AfriForum. But as things stand, AfriForum has no chance against Mr. Malema. The only way to stop Malema and company is by a show of brute force. But AfriForum doesn't seem interested in that option, at least not yet. Very few of Mr. Malema's poverty-stricken followers understand economics, but they certainly understand brute force, which is the only way we can get through to them. Now, we don't really want to use brute force on these poor, unfortunate people. We just have to show them that we have brute force. And some Afrikaners, like the Suidlanders, want to run away instead of standing strong. But the only thing that these Suidlanders are doing is to cause disunity amongst the Afrikaners. And disunity is an Afrikaner weakness that has often caused major setbacks. We need to stand strong. This takes money and international diplomacy. And this is where South African Jews can help, if they are not too full of nonsense. And, my fellow Jews, you need to understand that if you are indeed too full of nonsense to step up to the plate, then the whole world will raise the same old cry. You see, you can't trust the Jews, you can't rely on them, because when the chips are down, they'll chicken out and they'll run to Israel. The anti-Semites who say this will be 100% correct. If we want to mobilize against this lunatic expropriation business, our people have to be given a clear and definite job to do, like raising the money needed for brute force. And if our people do indeed have a single task like raising money, there can be no doubt that they will succeed brilliantly. And furthermore, it will force the black population to consider political options other than the socialism of the ANC and the EFF. Black South Africans are very well aware that the ANC is failed and that they need other people in charge, as long as they are not white. Cope, for example, has a much clearer idea of how to raise up South Africa. Surely our whites and Asians are tired of arguing with corrupt and incompetent ANC socialists who destroy everything they touch. Now, a word about the Jews. When we were fighting for our existence in the Holy Land in the 1940s, ordinary Jewish people throughout the world rolled up their sleeves to raise funds for the war, and they succeeded brilliantly. So the time has come for Afrikaners to do the same thing, and maybe AfriForum can lead this movement. We'll see. But whoever leads must be prepared to mobilize South Africa's whites, Asians, and well-informed blacks to roll up their sleeves and raise the money. And if they do roll up their sleeves, the whole company will marvel at the results, and their story will spread throughout the whole world. And it's also worth reminding our Afrikaner compatriots of their vow before Blood River. They vowed to build a church, and a brilliantly successful South Africa based on godly values is that church. And the time to build it is now. And if the Afrikaners do this, then the rest of us will back them every inch of the way. So this is biblical stuff. This situation is related to God, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And for a full biblical view of our duties, you should get yourself a copy of God versus the Left. All you have to do is just click on the book image on any page, and you'll go straight through to the right page in Amazon Books, where you can get the book in a few seconds. So this is Paul Kaplan signing out, and thanking you for your time and attention.